Joseph Merrick, in full Joseph Carey Merrick, also called the Elephant Man. Merrick was apparently normal until about the age of 5, when he began showing signs of a strange disorder that caused abnormal growths of much of his skin and bone. His mother died when he was 11 and his father soon remarried. Rejected by his father and stepmother, Merrick left school age 13, which was usual for the time. His home life was now a perfect misery, and neither his father nor his stepmother demonstrated affection towards him. Merrick was becoming a greater financial burden on his family, and eventually his father secured him a hawker's license which enabled him to earn money selling items from the haberdashery shop, door to door. This endeavor was unsuccessful, for Merrick's facial deformities rendered his speech increasingly unintelligible, and prospective customers reacted with horror to his physical appearance. People refused to open doors for him, and now people not only stared at him but followed him out of curiosity. Merrick failed to make enough money as a hawker to support himself. On returning home one day in 1877, he was severely beaten by his father and he left home for good. Merrick was now homeless on the streets of Leicester. His uncle, a barber named Charles Merrick, heard of his nephew's situation, sought him out and offered him accommodation in his home. Merrick continued to hawk around Leicester for the next 2 years, but his efforts to earn a living met with little more success than before. Eventually, his disfigurement drew such negative attention from members of the public that the commissioners for hackney carriages withdrew his license when it came up for renewal. With young children to provide for, Charles could no longer afford to support his nephew. In late December 1879, now 17 years old, Merrick entered the Leicester Union workhouse. Merrick became one of 1,180 residents in the workhouse. Joseph was given a classification to determine his place of accommodation. The class system determined which department or ward he would reside in as well as the amounts of food he would receive. Joseph was classed as Class 1 for able-bodied males and females. On the 22nd of March 1880, only 12 weeks after entering, Merrick signed himself out of the workhouse and spent 2 days looking for work. With no more success than before, he found himself with no option but to return to the workhouse. This time he stayed for 4 years. Around 1882, Merrick underwent surgery on his face. The protrusion from his mouth had grown to 22 centimeters and severely inhibited his speech and made it difficult to eat. He was operated on in the workhouse infirmary under the direction of Dr. Clement Frederick Bryan, and had a large part of the mass removed. Merrick concluded that his only escape from the workhouse might be through the world of human novelty exhibitions. He knew of a Leicester music hall comedian and proprietor named Sam Torr. Merrick wrote to Torr, who came and visited him at the workhouse. Torr decided he could make money exhibiting Merrick, although, to retain Merrick's novelty, he would have to be a traveling exhibit. To this end, he organized a group of managers for Merrick, music hall proprietor J. Ellis, traveling showman George Hitchcock, and fair owner Sam Roper. On the 3rd of August 1884, Merrick departed the workhouse to start his new career. The showman named Merrick the Elephant Man, and advertised him as half a man and half an elephant. In Belgium, Merrick was robbed by his road manager and abandoned in Brussels. He eventually made his way back to the London hospital where he was allowed to stay for the rest of his life. Merrick also received visits from the wealthy ladies and gentlemen of London society, including Alexandra, Princess of Wales. Although the official cause of his death was asphyxia, Treves, who performed the post-mortem, said Merrick had died of a dislocated neck.